Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. We're about to get started. First thing I need everyone to do is put their phone in airplane mode. I am kidding. But that is the name of this session, and I am really excited to present it to you. Please welcome to the stage from United, Julia Fedor, and a United pilot, Paul Hootie. Give them a big round of applause, please.
Up, up, and away. That's it.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. A pilot and a marketer walk on a stage. What the heck are we about to talk about?
Airplane mode.
So, hello, I'm Julia Fedor. I'm a director on the brand marketing team at United Airlines. I've been with United for 7 years now, spent the earlier part of my career in advertising and PR agencies, and I absolutely love working for this brand, and I love speaking to audiences like this because so many of you are frequent flyers, you're on the road constantly for vacations, for work travel, so it's always really fun to engage in audiences.
My name is Paul Hootie. I'm obviously a pilot for United Airlines. I fly the 757 and 767, and despite what the photo shows, we don't live in Hawaii. I wish we did. My family and I live in Minnesota, but I'm based in Newark, New Jersey. So unlike those of you who drive to work or take the train or walk from your bedroom to your home office. Whoa. Thanks, man.
No fashion faux pas.
I'm based in Newark, New Jersey, so I fly from Minneapolis to Newark every time I start a trip. We have a fun goal for my family and I to visit every continent before our kids graduate from high school. And next month we're hitting continent number 5, which will be Africa.
So hopefully all of you have flown United at some point for your personal leisure travel or business travel. But to set the stage a bit, we are the world's biggest airline. We officially became the largest as of a couple of years ago. We fly to over 360 destinations worldwide. We have over 100,000 employees in our workforce. I live in Chicago, where our corporate headquarters are located. And last year in 2025, we flew over 175 million customers around the globe. So our scale, our reach and our scale is massive as a brand. And it's a particularly exciting year for us. Earlier this month in April, we celebrated our 100th anniversary as an airline and a company. So, woo, yes. So it's a really phenomenal time to be working at the airline, and we've had a lot of celebrations happening across our airports and offices. So I'm here to tell you today that when it comes to your marketing tactics, some of the best brand advocates that you can engage are your own employees. Depends on your industry, depends on your brand, but there is a lot to be said for employees who are also content creators. And as we think about our brand marketing ecosystem at United, we've developed a community of employees who are active on social media in their personal lives, talking about their work experiences at United. People like Paul, pilots, flight attendants, people are really fascinated about their lifestyles and what that looks like to go to work, show up for a shift. So we've created great, trusted relationships with a lot of our employees who are doing content creation.
And if you haven't figured out why there's an airline pilot on stage at a marketing conference, it's because I have my own personal brand called My Layover Life, and you can see on the screen I've got, if you add those up, it's a little over 500,000 followers across all the platforms. And it really is super fun to create content, to inspire people. I started my YouTube channel because I saw a bunch of crew members, flight attendants, pilots, going out on layovers, or going on a layover and not doing anything. Like literally in Maui, staying in their hotel room for 24 hours. And I wanted to encourage change. So I started a YouTube channel where I would go do fun things on layovers, and then I'd make a YouTube video out of it. But that never really took off because it was just a travel YouTube channel, and there was a lot of really good travel creators out there, and I wasn't one of them. But there wasn't a story. So once I started introducing like a behind-the-scenes look at what pilot life looks like, so flying from Minneapolis to Newark, taking a nap in the crew lounge, preparing for the flight, flying to Maui or wherever we're going, and then doing something cool on the layover, and then going home and commuting back to Minneapolis, showing a more in-depth story, then my channel started to take off.
And to add some data-driven research behind why social media influencers and content creators are so important, there was a study done by the PR firm Edelman several years ago that found about 63% of consumers trust influencers and content creators more than they trust traditional brand advertising. So as I said, engaging influencers, both employees and external influencers at United, is a big part of our marketing. There was also a research study done by an academic at Auburn University a couple of years ago that did a survey across the United States and asked a series of questions. It was quantitative, qualitative in nature, but they asked respondents, name one influencer that you follow. How long have you followed them? How often are you engaging in their content? How often are they showing up in your feed? Do you watch their videos through all the way to completion? Why do you like them? And what this researcher found is there's 4 main traits on why influencers are trusted. None of this is rocket science, but this is research and data to back up our strategy and why we do what we do. So of course, influencers are trusted because they are experts, whatever their beat may be. If they're focused on travel and lifestyle, food and beverage, fitness, they know their subject matter area. They're honest. They come across as genuine, likable, transparent in their content. They have appeal and resonance. They're just generally likable people on the internet. And people, another reason that they are trusted is because of their similarity. We all follow people on the internet who we have shared affinities with. Maybe we have similar interests, similar hobbies, similar backgrounds. So again, 4 main traits why influencers are so trusted. We've been engaging our own workforce, including a lot of frontline employees, for many years now as a brand marketing team at United. We will bring our employees out to events. We'll bring them to special functions happening in our airports, new club and lounge openings, product announcements. Sometimes we'll actually send physical products to our employee content creators and say, like, go make some TikTok videos or Instagram reels. For example, a couple of years ago, we started serving Illy cold brew coffee on board our flights and in our clubs and lounges. So we sent a pallet of cold brew coffee to a bunch of our content creators and just said, here, help us get the word out to your followers that we now offer cold brew. So as I said in the beginning, at United Airlines, we are going for mass reach. When we look at the US, there's about 182 million people who fly at least once a year, 1 round trip per year. And of that 182 million, 73 million are frequent flyers. They're getting on a plane and doing 3 or more round trips per year. So when it comes to our employee content creators and just a lot of our tactics on social media, we're primarily focused on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
So to give you kind of an idea of like the kind of videos I create, this is a day in the life video. It's actually a 1-minute reel. This was from a destination that I had never been to before, Malaga, Spain, and this was my first experience flying to Malaga. It is not very often that I fly to an airport I've never been to before, but today I finally get to say,
Ladies and gentlemen, your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you on board United Flight 350, service now to Malaga, Spain.
Malaga is a pretty senior troop, which is why I've never been. To give you an idea of how senior it is, one of our flight attendants was hired before I was born. So, after we landed, a few of us grabbed coffee in a rental car, and we were off. 1 hour north of Malaga is home to what used to be one of the world's most dangerous hikes, the Caminito del Rey. The original path was finished in 1905. Built for workers at the El Chorro hydroelectric power station, it was just 1 meter wide on the edge of a cliff with very little margin for safety. In 2015, however, it was renovated and now it's an easy hike. The trail culminates at this cool hanging bridge suspended more than 100 meters above the floor of the gorge. From there, it was back to Malaga just in time to catch sunset on a rooftop before heading to dinner. The next morning, we were off to Newark.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 13, United.
After saying goodbye to our guests, I changed clothes and had a quick lunch in the United Club before boarding my flight home to Minneapolis. Follow along on YouTube for more long-form content, and I'll see you on the next layover.
do I sound the same in that video? Well, thank you. That's very nice. I think that's the first time I've ever gotten a round of applause for a video. So because this is a marketing conference and you probably want to know what the analytics were, these are the analytics from that video. 1.1 million views, 311 311 days of watch time, and I gained roughly 14,000 new followers just from that one video, which is mind-boggling. One of the most unique analytics from this video, though, I think, is that 91% of the views on that video were not from my own followers, which means that people shared it and reposted it and all that kind of stuff. So, and also, like, I'm not the only employee content creator. There's a lot of employee content creators, so there's a lot of reach going out across social media. What I like more than looking at analytics, though, is meeting people in real life. And this is meeting one of our aspiring pilots at the United Aviate Academy, which is in Goodyear, Arizona. And this is just a short conversation that we had at the training center there.
I remember seeing you post about the Aviate Academy, and I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like,
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what flight school to go to at the time.
Right, yeah.
I was going to go to Mom and Pop 61 somewhere in Long Island
Sure.
or something. So then I was like, this one looks cool. I was like, I've never been to Arizona.
Yeah,
I was
right,
like,
yeah.
I'll apply. And then
You
2
got
years
it.
later,
Dude, that's
here
wild.
I am. It was crazy, man. It's so awesome to meet
Oh
you,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Thank
for
you
sure.
very much.
Well, congrats on like
Thank you.
changing your life,
Like literally.
based on the YouTube video. hopefully you don't regret that.
I will
in 10
never
years.
regret. Like, I've do nothing but enjoy my time here.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Just just it's so awesome to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you too, man.
I'm not showing it. I'm fangirling. I'm kind of fangirling. Man. It's been for like, you understand. I've watched your videos forever.
Yeah.
Like for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Since you were first officer.
Yeah. Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I show you that not to promote myself or whatever, but because that's the whole point of why I create content, is to inspire people to not just learn how to fly, but to travel, to go out and explore on their layovers. But I can't do that. I can't inspire people if I don't educate them, and I can't educate them if I don't entertain them. So every one of my YouTube videos, I want to have these 3 features. It's got to be entertaining, it's got to be educational, and at the end, I want it to be inspiring. And on YouTube, Shorts, and Instagram, and TikTok, I want it to be at least one of those 3 things. I feel like the video you saw maybe covered all 3. But that's my whole purpose, is to entertain, educate, and inspire.
All right. With that, thank you. I know we're going to do some Q&A here.
First of all, I'd like to invite both of you to have a seat, especially you. It's like having Leonardo DiCaprio run through your conference in uniform. This guy, I couldn't get him in here. But I saw them do this at a small event in Chicago, and I fell in love with the presentation and the idea of having, this kind of conversation at a marketing conference and doing something a little bit different, but is inherently, relevant to everything that we talk about here. A couple of follow-up questions, and then we'll let you guys have a chance, because I'm sure there are some. And I'll tell a quick anecdote. So that guy right there, his name is Bonin. He was very instrumental in helping me create a show for brands. It's called Brand Week. And, I said at the time, he worked at Pepsi. Tell me something about Pepsi that I don't know. Everyone thinks, the voice of a generation and, big behind talent. And so is that what we talk about at Brand Week? And he's like, it's a trucking and bottling company. Like, it's a logistics extravaganza. And like, that keeps them up at night, almost more than anything else, which was extremely insightful. And so tell me about United, something that feels very glamorous. Their drivers are not celebrities, yours are. But tell me something about United, the company that we don't think about, that is keeping you up at night. Like jet fuel prices.
I knew a jet fuel question was coming. So yes, obviously there's a lot that affects us as a brand and as an airline: natural disasters, humanitarian issues, the war in the Middle East right now. And the reality is that we are taking on a lot of added costs right now with the increase in jet fuel prices. We are a bit insulated in the US in that we're self-sufficient. We have a big supply here, but we fly to dozens of destinations all around the world, and it is coming where the supply chain is going to be impacted soon. So it's definitely something that we are talking about, thinking about every single day. It was brought up on our earnings call just 2 weeks ago. But I also wanted to mention, as far as like interesting things within the airline, two things. I have 2 things I want to share with you. Okay. One is that when it comes, so we fly 5,000 flights per day. 5,000 times a day, we are putting a plane into the sky, whether it's a 30-minute flight or 17 hours to the south of Australia. Each flight requires the actions of about 80 people around the airline to get that plane into the sky. Not only flight attendants and pilots, dispatchers, air traffic controllers, load planners, customer service agents. So you just think about the scale of that, of how many humans and their actions and decisions are required to get one flight off. And then, sorry, Danny, real quick, the second thing I was going to mention, fun fact, when it comes to all of our advertising and marketing campaigns, anytime you see an employee on camera in a TV commercial, a social media post, you see an employee in uniform, that's a real-life employee. So we don't hire paid actors to pose as employees. They are real-life pilots.
You might be able to still see me in a commercial that plays occasionally. It's usually during a football game, and sometimes it plays on the airplane. But I was cast for a commercial last year, or aired last year, which is an honor to be considered someone who represents the company on national TV.
Well, speaking of celebrity aspirations, so how much longer are you going to fly, and when are you going to just go ahead and make the transition?
Man, I love flying airplanes so much. I don't know that I would ever want to give that up. But I like creating content too. If I wasn't going to fly airplanes, that's probably what I would be doing.
So what's a little more of United's strategy when it comes to social and social influence? It's a great idea to galvanize the internal spirit of your employees. I think that's great. It takes a lot of pride, to do that, and then some guts to be able to just share that broadly. But is there a broader social strategy? You're talking to big social agencies. Do you need any help with that? I got folks who can help you here. Like, what's the broader strategy?
We live and breathe on the internet. We have a great in-house social media team. So we're doing influencer marketing. We're running paid social ads to reach prospective flyers, existing flyers, and we're putting out a lot of just day-to-day brand content, not only on channels like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. We're also on Pinterest. We've been dabbling more with Reddit to show up as a brand. Our social media managers get together every day at 9 a.m. in the morning for a stand-up call. And we read the internet. What is going on at that moment in time? What has happened in the world or overnight that might affect us as a brand and potentially affect our content publishing plans? But we do consider social media to be a really critical tactic, especially if certain audiences or Gen Z, they're getting their news, they're doing most of their media consumption on TikTok and Instagram. We want to, of course, reach them where they're at.
Is there something that you've done, like if you could point to one thing that you did that really helped move the needle? And the needle can be anything, ticket price, customer sentiment, whatever the needle was. Yeah. Something you did that was like, wow, that did it.
I've got a great recent example for you. A couple months ago, there was a family traveling through the Denver airport. It's our fastest growing hub. We have hundreds of departures and arrivals at Denver every single day. And there was a family of 4 traveling, and the son in this family, this 8-year-old boy, was traveling with his Pokemon cards. So he had a binder with hundreds of Pokemon cards. And unfortunately, he left that binder somewhere in the airport. So his dad went onto Reddit, that evening, and said, this is a shot in the dark, but if anyone's at the Denver airport, have you found an album of Pokemon cards? So our social media team saw this post and thought, and then unfortunately, They were not able to recover the cards. Nobody found them in Lost and Found. No other customers found them. So our social media team saw this post, put out a call to action to our own employees on our intranet to explain what had happened with this customer, and said, hey, if you've got any extra Pokemon cards lying around, send them to us on the social media team. We'd love to gift them to this family. So we put out this article on our intranet and in our daily newsletter. Our employees sent us 18,000 Pokemon cards. So boxes and boxes were arriving at our corporate headquarters in Chicago, and then we ended up doing a surprise and delight moment with the family where we gave 18,000 cards to this young boy the next time he was flying. And we actually ended up getting a lot of national and local media coverage, more than any other social media activation we've done in recent years. I had friends and family members texting me saying like, oh my God, I just saw this beautiful, heartwarming story about how United sprung into action and helped out this customer.
Well, we need more benevolent stories right now, so that's a good one to share. How about, we got to talk about AI because we're here. But from a technology standpoint, Paul, are you seeing stuff that is impacting the way you fly, how you fly, using AI, agentic AI, or has the machinery and the mechanism changed a lot since the advent of this technology?
Well, I fly airplanes that were built in the 1900s, so there's not a lot of AI in those.
They're not backwards compatible. You can't just download Claude and
That's right. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of AI implementation with dispatch planning and that kind of stuff. I don't see a lot of that. I did, however,
So that's interesting. It hasn't become like part of your training protocol as of yet.
Not at all. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Technology-wise, though, I'm working on editing a YouTube video right now, and I went to the Boom Supersonic facility in Denver and got a tour with their chief test pilot and got to fly the simulator, and it's fascinating to see what they're working on out there with that, and I'm very excited at the potential of flying from New York to London in 3.5 hours, and they're even talking about going from like San Francisco to Australia or San Francisco to Sydney in 8.5 hours, and making it less than half the time of a normal flight, and they'll have to stop for fuel, including like a tech stop in Tahiti or whatever. But even with that tech stop, it's still less than half the flight time, which is very exciting. I think it's very cool that that's potentially going to happen in my career, and my daughter's 15 and learning to fly now, so I'm excited at what's to come.
Bring that Concorde back.
That's it.
Let's give you guys a chance. There are a few questions. Do we have a roamer? I can roam. Y'all love making me jump off this thing, don't you?
Wait, do I get to go first or you? What's up?
Hi, Paul. It was nice meeting you earlier today.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I watch a lot of your videos, but listening to this conversation, the question, maybe a comment and a question that I had. One of the brands that my company owns is Flyer Talk, and it's you get to see an unhealthy amount of interest and fascination with the ins and outs of the airline industry, what goes on behind the scenes, and it's primarily people who are 1Ks with United and executive platinums, and so forth and so on. I just wanted to comment United on elevating internal voices, employee voices like Paul's, and showing what the behind the scenes looks like, because I think there's a lot of demand from frequent flyers, from people who are spending a lot of their time thinking about how they travel, what they do, how their businesses spend their money. They want to know what goes on behind the scenes, and I think a lot of the pilots out there, they do these things independently of their airlines, independently of their kind of corporate parents. The fact that you guys partnered up, I think it's really cool, and I think this should just be something that happens a lot more, and corporates should identify those kinds of, organic spring shoots. So just want to say thanks, and it's well done.
I'm very thankful United is encouraging of this, because I feel like not all airlines are encouraging of their employees to create content on social media, because there's inherently a little bit of risk with 110,000 employees. But I'm incredibly grateful that we're able to work together, and United trusts me, as they should, because I fly airplanes, and if they can trust me to fly across the ocean, they probably trust me to create a TikTok. But the same with flight attendants. They trust them to evacuate airplanes, and they trust the ramp crew to marshal in an airplane to the gate safely. And we're all professionals, so I think if we can do our job safely, that creating videos is, we should be able to be trusted doing that too.
And the content creator economy is here to stay. I know there are companies out there that have zero tolerance policies when it comes to their employees on social media talking about their work experiences. And frankly, we used to be that type of company a decade ago, but it took a lot of relationship building with our HR, our labor relations, our legal teams to say, this is the way of the world. Like, people want to talk about their work lives online. They want to build a following. They want to create content. And we should embrace that.
Absolutely.
Hi, this is Selene here. Very important question. Is it harder to land a plane or create a TikTok video?
Shout out to Selene.
I would say it's harder to create a TikTok video. I could land a plane very, very tired and sleepy and still be very safe doing it, but yeah.
How many hours have you flown in your career?
Over 20,000. I've got, over 20,000, over 11,000 on the airplane I fly now, 757 and 767.
Excuse me, I asked the questions.
Yeah.
What's your...
Wait, there's other questions out here.
Hold on, we've got one. We've got plenty of time. Keep them coming.
Yeah, okay, go.
Thank you, Paul. Can you just talk a little bit more about what goes into creating your videos? Because I can see that you're not doing a selfie all the time. So how do you go about asking people around you to put them, like, to film you? Like, what app are you using? How long is it actually taking you to do each one of these videos? Because they're time consuming.
Yeah, like that video, I probably spent 3 hours creating, like editing, which maybe shows that I'm a bad editor, because maybe it should not take that long, but...
Claude, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, AI should be in your repertoire more.
That's where I need AI, probably. I'm fortunate now that when I go to work, like, not that I'm anybody, but people know that I create videos. And so some people are totally okay, like, yeah, I'll be in your video and I'm happy to help hold the camera or do whatever. And I've got a little tripod on my phone that I'll set up and create that. And one of the benefits of, like, almost all my videos are going through Newark. So if I need B-roll of a 767 pushing back at sunset or at noon or at night, like, I can get that when I'm there, because I'm there all the time. So I can, like, not everything is, like, as it's happening, I can create a lot of stuff afterwards. I can gather footage and stuff afterwards. So, but my YouTube videos take a long time. Like a full-length YouTube video, if it's 30 minutes, that's for sure 30 hours of editing. And again, probably because I'm not a professional editor, but I put a lot of pride into how they turn out, and I want them to be engaging and fun to watch. And
While we look for the next question, are there any million milers out there?
I was going to ask, what is
Show of
1K and
All right.
and Executive Platinum? I thought it was only Concierge, Key, and Global Services. I didn't know that those other existed. I do have a question, though. So it's funny because my very first business trip ever was to Malaga, Spain. And I was like, business travel. I'm like 24. I'm like, this is amazing, business travel. My second was to Dearborn, Michigan. I was like, never again. Shut it all down. But so first of all, it's congratulations. And I believe that, supporting employees and the fact that you have passionate employees in what you do. And, I fly all the time. So I thank you for landing safely. But how many pilots, employees do you guys have kind of doing this with you? That was my first question. Then I'll come back and have one other question for Paul real quick. But
We have a community of about 100 to 200 employees, give or take. We don't structure it as a formal ambassador program where people have to apply to be a brand ambassador and they have to produce a certain amount of content. It's way more informal. So it's upwards of 200 employees, pilots, flight attendants, customer service representatives, also corporate employees in our management, technicians, mechanics, people who are behind the scenes at the airports, and our team sometimes stumbles upon them on social media and thinks like, wow, this person is creating fantastic Instagram reels. They're talking so positively about the brand. We want to have a relationship with them. Something unique that we do as a company, we host an employee social media conference every year.
That's cool.
At our headquarters. So we will bring together those 200 employees, talk about the latest best practices with content creation, trends happening on social media. And it's truly wonderful. We literally have 200 employees flying in from all over the world and coming together, and we all walk away as friends after the end of that conference.
They also bring in a lot of external content creators to that conference, from the Chicago Bulls or
Blackhawks.
Blackhawks, yeah. There's been a lot of external brands and like personal content creators who show up and give us their tips and tricks for creating TikTok videos that don't take 3 hours to edit.
Bonnet is a big proponent of that. So I tried to make a TikTok video. I sent it to him, and he calls me, and he's like, dude, where is your shirt? Like, it's early. I don't know. I just wanted...
That's no excuse.
I wanted to rap,
anyway,
and it just came to mind.
Paul, this is going down the wrong place. Anyway, so Paul, when you first kind of started doing it, did you ask permission? Were you nervous or, yeah, okay.
I wasn't nervous, but I did not ask permission. It is funny that the people I fly with, they think I have some like seal of approval from United, and there's never been any official agreement that I won't say anything derogatory, or I mean that's part of the social media guidelines, but no, there was never an approval process or any sort of permission granted. I just started creating content, and United noticed back in 2019 with an Instagram photo, and then that's kind of when our relationship started.
We got time for one more.
Hey. I'm Toy, Julia. I reached out to you.
Hello.
So great to see you on that stage. I
Good to
ran
see
over
you.
here to make sure I didn't miss it. Paul, I wanted to make sure I got it right. Okay, cool. Did you see the footage on TikTok? There's like a view of the pilots taking off and what like pilots see when they land. Was that you, maybe?
It was not me. We're not
Okay.
allowed to film anything in the cockpit while we're flying.
Okay, cool. Well,
so no,
right.
that was
So
not me.
that's a great thing. Great thing.
Other like in Europe, those like KLM and British Airways, they are allowed to do that, but that goes against our guidelines.
Okay, that's a proof point. So this is something you guys should tout in your, yeah, we don't film while we're, okay. That's all I wanted to say though. Just seeing the perspective of like pilots landing, you have an incredible job, and it's amazing that you guys are able to navigate the airways with so much, just authority and confidence. We appreciate everything that you do. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, well, before we let you go, Paul, one thing that I know...
There's one more. Do you want to go one more over here, and that's it? You said two.
Oh, sure. Of course.
I'll be fast.
Take your
Paul, I'm working on my Part 61. I really enjoy watching your content. Julia, I sit in a marketing function, and I am very sometimes cautious about what I let our employees do or not do. So can you talk to me, like I see both sides of this, of the coin very clearly. Can you talk to me a little bit about your process between having a zero tolerance policy and now having like upwards of 100, 150 ambassadors who are active on social?
So we always say that our employees have to follow our HR guidelines. We do have an official employee social media policy about what is and isn't allowed. And I mean, it's common sense. It's like, don't say anything inflammatory or violent or disparage our customers on your social media channels. So we always point back to that, is, make sure that you're familiar with our employee social media policy for the entire brand worldwide. And then each of the work groups, pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, they have their own standard operating procedures, their SOPs. So first and foremost, we take care of our customers and we're concerned about safety. So at no point should content creation ever get in the way of that. So we always say, can't do anything in violation of your SOPs. But for us, I think we kind of try to find this middle ground. We're not monitoring and policing our employees on social media. Some things do come to our attention as a social media team that are clear violations of our policies, frankly, because they're not our employee content creators. But a workforce of 150 15,000 employees worldwide nowadays, as of like last week. So things will come to our attention, and we kind of weigh in as a social media team. But I think it's also just trusting the judgment and discretion of employees to make good decisions, be great brand advocates. As far as our more specifics about our process, we make sure before we invite an employee to an event, an activation, or this annual employee social media conference, we actually will check with their supervisors and their management to make sure they're in good standing, there's no disciplinary issues, no concerns about them participating. And then with those events and with any content creation, everything's done on a voluntary basis. We are not incentivizing our employee content creators. We're not paying them. That's probably the #1 question that I get. So they are doing this because they're passionate about it.
With 10 seconds, can you give us your best moderate to heavy turbulent speech to calm everybody down on the plane?
Your video.
Wait. My wife would laugh so hard at this right now because she's like, "You're the worst at calming people down."
Well, let's see what you got.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, your captain speaking. We're just going through a little bit of light, choppy air right now. Shouldn't last more than another 10 or 15 minutes, and then it should start to smooth out. So keep your seatbelts fastened, and we'll find some smooth air shortly.
I feel better. Round of applause, please.